you've seen a big shift in terms of advertising over the last 8 weeks, and it's been driven by the impact of COVID. So, I won't regurgitate all the stats that everybody's been hearing over and over again about the dramatic increase in over the top and connected TV consumption with everybody being at home. We've seen that. We've seen about 60% increase over that time period in terms of all the ad tech platforms and publishers that we manage data and identity for across OTT. So it's pretty much across the board. Really, what I would say is the biggest thing is going to be what are the longer term impacts to it, and I've obviously long been bullish on where OTT and connected TV is going to be in terms of the value chain of media and entertainment and advertising. And some people think it's 2020, it was 2021, it was 2023, it was 2027 when that kind of overtook traditional television and other mediums. Whatever it is, I think the biggest impact has been the consumer behavior sped up by about 18 months. Into a year and a half. So all of our projections in terms of what scale was going to be for ad-supported over the top, we're pretty much in Q4 of 2021 now in terms of that scale. And even when people go back to the work and social distancing is done, it's not just people spending more time. It's people have bought new devices. So we're seeing net more devices in households. We're seeing households that weren't watching any ad-supported OTT in January that are watching it. We're seeing similar trends across some live streaming audio, in-game advertising availability across video games, on gaming consoles. And so the entire ecosystem is kind of never going to be the same after this.
So what does that mean for brand marketers? What does that mean for the buy side and also for programmers?
Yeah, I don't think it changes what the overall strategy or trajectory, generally speaking, or direction was that a lot of people have been preparing for. I think it speeds up the urgency. So, you can see things with the success of the second Trolls movie making more money in on-demand digital purchasing in 3 weeks than the first movie made in movie theaters in 5 months. Does that really put pressure in terms of release windows, which will drive even more growth and adoption of kind of OTT, because that's where people are buying these digital downloads and streaming them more and more. I think in terms of things like measurement, one of the things that has been, I think, held back OTT and connected TV in terms of measurement is not that there's not the ability to do that. I mean, Tru Optik, there's other companies as well, can measure at census level every single impression and tie it back to do household reach and frequency. I think the challenge is that the majority of the ad dollars were still on linear television. And so people wanted to see what was the incremental reach that they were getting from connected TV from their linear buy. Well, I don't know that that's going to matter as much 18 months from now, 12 months from now, because will people really be doing the bulk of their buying on linear as the audience time continues to shift more and more to connected TV? We're seeing similar things in terms of audio and gaming as well. And so I think so if I could say the biggest impact, it's not just the increased availability of inventory, it's people are not spending their money on brand advertising, right? Over the last 8 weeks, people aren't just doing general brand advertising, right? That's all the stuff that's been cut and paused. People are stopped that to change their creative. People are we're seeing an uptick on people wanting to do audience targeting on whatever OTT they are running to really make sure that they're getting the efficacy for their dollars or reaching specific constituencies that still have the ability to make purchases. So I think it's speeding up the shift to streaming media and that being important, but then also increasing the importance of measurement and targeting as well.
And Andre, just fill us in a little bit about the scope of the data set that you guys work with at Tru Optik. And I know that you do have a partnership with Transunion and many others. Explain a little bit about how your data set started, but really where it is and where it might be going.
Yeah, I mean, I think, one of the things that is important for people to realize about Tru Optik is that we're completely agnostic, right? So Tru Optik does not generate its own consumer behavior segments, all of our relationships with our publisher partners and clients, all of their behavioral data is tied behind their walled garden. So we can't say what somebody watched on the Food Network or what they did on Pluto TV and share that with anybody. I mean, that's complete. So we're not like other companies that may be creating segments off of ACR data, or they have some panel, or they have offline data that they're bringing in. We're not competing with any of those people. Really what Tru Optik is an identity spine for people to be able to transact and map and append that data against streaming media devices. So we don't buy and sell media. We don't own a device. It's literally, we are just the widget that connects everybody else's data. So when Tru Optik is talking about data, our core asset is our household graph, which is just a source of truth about what devices are in what household at what particular time. And then what we make, 85% of our revenue doing is helping the ComScores and the IHS and the Transunions make that third-party data or first-party data available across those households and OTT or stream or smart speakers or gaming consoles. In terms of our partnership with Transunion, what's been really great, and Transunion became an investor in Q1 of 2019, and so we've spent a lot of the last year really working on our native integration to help validate our anonymized household and OTT device signals against really high scalable PII. So instead of trying to equate things like household income, say, against a panel, we're anonymously mapping that to real validated household income from somebody like TransUnion that has much more accurate and scalable data on that than anybody. One of the things that we'll be releasing, in terms of our COVID study and our analysis is not just the increase in traffic, which everybody already knows, but we're going to be doing some things in partnership with TransUnion with really evaluating, was there more increase in viewership on African-American homes or households of this income or this state versus that state, so that people can also see what the impact of increased OTT streaming has been on specific constituencies, with political being such a big thing, or specific consumer target groups with advertisers wanting to really make sure that they can engage their consumers during these times. I think we're in a unique position relative to how things have gone over the last couple of months, more so than others. Unfortunately, you hear on a pretty regular basis about the ad tech companies or the agencies that have had to let people go or cutting massively. Fortunately, because we're agnostic and we work across all sides with all people, and OTT, connected TV, has probably been less impacted than other verticals. And then data has actually gone up in terms of the people still advertising. We've still honored all of our new college grads that are starting in June. They're still starting in June. We're onboarding them remotely. We still have positions that we're hiring for. We've been, fortunate. We've had a couple people get sick, but not anything that impacted business, and they're all healthy again and back in the office. So, I'm really blessed overall. I think in general across the ecosystem, even with companies that have been impacted a little bit more negatively than Tru Optik, I've seen much more sense of urgency in terms of getting deals done. People moving faster. It's amazing. I think the productivity level across the industry has actually increased, with less of the boondoggles and the traveling 2 hours for a 60-minute meeting. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see how people adapt moving forward, even after social distancing is going. But overall, I think, we're doing really well, and, really pleased with, kind of the morale and effort that all the executives and rank and file at Tru Optik have put forth.